Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. This is going to be such a fun video. I am so excited for this. We are going to go over every single thing in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, mostly, Iceberg. And I have not really seen this iceberg. I saw that someone created it, so huge thank you to Twitter user Yugioh7s. They will be linked down below in the description. I asked them for permission to obviously go over this and analyze it. I wouldn't want to do it without permission of the person who made it, and they were very kind, and they said absolutely. So I am so excited. I got my computer right here. We are going to go thing by thing, item by item on this iceberg. Now, there might be a few of you that are not familiar with the iceberg meme, but basically the iceberg, as you can kind of picture a real iceberg, your first level is the tip of the iceberg, where most things is pretty common knowledge, probably things that even casual fans know or fans that are pretty new to the community know about. And as you get deeper and deeper underwater and into the iceberg, the things get more obscure. They get a little more kind of mysterious and sometimes spooky, although Yugioh7s let me know that this one isn't really a creepypasta too much in that regard. But I'm going to see how much I know. If I don't know something, I will be transparent about it. And again, I have not looked at this iceberg at all since it was released. So let's get to it. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's just begin, man. I am so excited. Alright, so we start at the tip of the iceberg, and again, these are things that you probably know about. If you don't, I'll explain them real quick. Again, I'm going to try to go thing by thing, seriously, every single thing here. I mean, there's a lot. So this is going to be a long video, guys. There's a lot of stuff. All right, we're starting at the top. Season 0. So for those of you that don't know what Season 0 is, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime produced by Toei back in the 1990s, before Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters was a thing. It's much more dark. It's right before, it leads up to when Kaiba and Yugi duel, basically where Duel Monsters starts from. The animation is much different than your traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's not really called Season 0, it's just called Yu-Gi-Oh! Toei Anime, but it's been dubbed as Season 0. So, yeah, Dark Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically. We have the Abridged series, which is obviously a very famous and popular series by Little Karibo. You know, nothing too crazy there, but that is a series that got a lot of people, including myself to a slight degree, even though I don't really keep up with it too much anymore, back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know that series has gotten so many people into Yu-Gi-Oh! So that series alone is probably a reason why a few of you are even watching a video like this. Jesus Christ, there is a lot of stuff, man. There is a lot of stuff. 2,500 card deck. I believe I saw a video. It might have been Mega Capital G that posted this. Let me look it up again if I don't know something. But I believe this is just the biggest deck that somebody used in a tournament or something. And again, if I'm wrong about this, please let me know in the comments. There are going to be some things I'm wrong about. And there's going to be some things I have no idea what they are. So please let me know and correct me in the comments, because I am going into this blind and I don't want to look up every single thing that I don't know. But 2,500 card deck. I think it's that one guy that brought it to a tournament, but fact check me on that. What does it do? That's obviously a Pot of Greed meme in the English dub. You know, every time Pot of Greed was played, which was quite often, honestly, in the English dub, and not only in the English dub, but in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime in general, the character would always go over what Pot of Greed did, even though it was just very obvious that it was draw 2. So it's a big meme in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. You know, oh, what does Pot of Greed do? What does it do? Big meme. You're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck. That is a Seto Kaiba quote to Joey Wheeler in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters in the dub. I believe, was that an actual Seto Kaiba quote, or was that an Abridged series reference? I'm really not too sure, but it's something that Kaiba said to Joey. Whether it was abridged or not, I'm not sure. Missing the timing, that has something to do with dueling and missing the timing window. I don't know if there's anything deeper there. And then Tier 0, I'm pretty sure that's just a different way to say meta. If a deck is Tier 0, it's very good, top tier. I'm not positive about that. The ones that are more dueling TCG side of it, I'm going to be pretty lost on. I have a feeling that just quickly looking at the bottom, I have a feeling that I'm going to know more things the deeper we get into this iceberg rather than surface level, which is probably a little concerning. But there's our first level of 6. This is going to be a long video, guys. All right, so let's go to our second level of the iceberg. So we have pole position loop does not actually work. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea what that is. Pole position loop, infinite loop. All right, let's see. An infinite loop is a never-ending cycle of effects activating in response. Pole position. The mechanics of pole position naturally lend itself to causing such infinite loops when combined with spell effects that directly or indirectly change a monster's attack. Oh, okay, so does that just mean that if that goes on, it doesn't actually end the duel because it just keeps changing the monster's attack? Maybe. I might be completely wrong about that. That one I don't know. So that one stopped me. Cypher Soldier misprintings. I don't know too much about that either. It might be in reference to the fact that Cypher Soldier used to be called Kinetic Soldier, which I actually never knew. That might be what it pertains to. It might not be, but that one I'll put as a stump too. That one got me. Music to Duel By. I'm not even kidding. I have this CD up in my bedroom, and I listened to it nonstop when I was younger. It's just a soundtrack from the English dub. A bunch of voice actors sang different songs. Darren Dunstan, Pegasus's voice actor, sang Face Up, Face Down. Look it up on YouTube. Great song. And the Music to Duel By OST, no matter what was on it, it was pretty dope. So that's cool. Music to Duel By, great CD. Yusei's Milk. Yusei's Milk. I actually did a video. I'm actually nervous as to how many videos I literally have specifically done on these topics. Yusei's Milk, I've done a video on it. I will link it down below. There's probably going to be a lot of videos linked down below because I have a feeling I've done a lot of specific videos on this kind of thing. So if anything interests you more, but basically Yusei's Milk, a lot of people think it's a dub-only reference. It's not. Yusei really did order milk in the bar of that Japanese version in the episode. So yeah, Yusei's Milk. It's cool. Zero Reverse. It's an incident that wiped out Neo Domino City. A really dark incident. Probably one of the darkest incidents in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, honestly. It just... A reactor exploded, the NRD, and everything just got wiped out. I'll probably be showing the video. The amount of people that perished in that incident, never disclosed, but you can imagine probably massive casualties. Yeah, one of the darker incidents in probably all of Yu-Gi-Oh. Warrior Die Greffer lore. I do not know the lore of Warrior Die Greffer, so there's the lore there. Look that up, but I'm going to take an L on that. I do not know that, so 3 stumps. But you still take damage. It's such a famous quote in all these Yu-Gi-Oh shows. It is such a famous quote where, you know, an effect goes off so that the monster of the anime character is not destroyed, and then the other anime character says, oh, well, you still take damage. So, especially in Arc 5. I mean, that was probably used in every episode of Arc 5. So, but you still take damage. We know that. Warrior of Zera lore. Don't know the lore for Warrior of Zera. Damn. So I'm up to 4 now. Numbered monster cards. I don't know if that has to do with that has to do with the numbers in Zexal. That's the only thing I can think of. If that does have to do with the numbers in Zexal, there's over 100 numbers. So have fun collecting all of them. And yeah, I have a feeling it probably doesn't, because although these are only supposed to be scratching the surface, these aren't supposed to be really deep into the lore. So maybe it does. I mean, over 100 numbered cards. Maybe that's what it references. The tomato episode. So yeah, very famous episode in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal where Yuma takes on a tomato, essentially. It's episode 30. Yeah, it is a weird episode, man. Tomatoes are at the forefront. There are some very famous shots. There's one very famous shot of Yuma that comes from that episode. But yeah, he just duels a character that is obsessed with tomatoes, and that's the whole episode. It's interesting. Yata Lock refers to Yata Garasu Lockdown. Very famous lockdown combination with that monster. You could do a lot of just basically crazy lockdowns in your opponent. I'm not going to go over the exact combo needed for it, but yeah, very famous lockdown in the card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Last turn rulings. Don't know last turn rulings. Again, a lot of these TCG ones are going to stop me, so I keep saying stomp me, like they're literally stomping me. Stump me. I can't speak tonight. So last turn rulings, that got me. Don't know that one. Miho Nosaka. Yes, Miho. Miho was such a pivotal character in the Season 0 anime. Not pivotal, but she was important. I mean, she was in practically every episode. She was never in really the manga that much. I think she had one panel in the manga. So why Toei Anime decided to make her such an important character, we really don't know. And we probably never will know. Definitely weird. But yeah, she was mentioned also as a character that went missing at the end of GX Season 4. I believe when Darkness was, or Truman was erasing all of the characters from existence. So she did have a little bit of an Easter egg in GX Season 4 of all shows. So Miho, definitely a lot of strange circumstances surrounding her. Frog the Jam, I have no idea. I have no idea what that means. Got me again. Magic card, maybe that has to do with the fact that they're actually called spell cards and not magic cards. Maybe. I don't know. Blackwing's favoritism. I know this one. So yes, Blackwings were so popular when 5Ds was airing that it is very commonly perceived that the reason Crow became such an important character in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds was because of how well Blackwings were selling. Even Crow, came back in Arc 5 to shill more Blackwings, and he had a lot of duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and he was very prevalent once he showed up in that story. Way more prevalent than, your GX characters like Asuka and Edo, who, Edo didn't even win a single duel. So Blackwing favoritism, not only it showed up in 5Ds, but it affected Arc 5, I believe, to a pretty significant degree. Konami references in cards. I don't know if that has to do with the anime references. I've done videos on that where anime characters appear in cards. But Konami references, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that one is. Dual Terminal, there is a bunch of lore that has to do with a bunch of different cards. The Dual Terminal lore is insane, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know too much about it. I know what it is, though. If you just type in Dual Terminal on Google, I'm sure there's definitely videos on YouTube. Actually, I think Mega Capital G did a series on it a couple years ago. Extensive lore on the cards in Dual Terminal, and yeah, pretty cool. Definitely look it up. Harpy's brother. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything more there, except the fact that Harpy has a brother. You think of the Harpy Lady sisters, you think of the Harpy Ladies. I don't even know if Harpy's brother is... Well, actually, they changed it to Sky Scout. So, Harpy's brother is not actually even Harpy's brother anymore. That might be what more it is. I didn't even know that they changed Harpy's brother to Sky Scout. That's crazy. I don't know also if it appeared ever in the anime. Let me see. I feel like Harpy's brother did. So, how about this? It appeared in episode 159 in Paradox's vault or headquarters. So it was never actually summoned in the anime. So yeah, Harpy's brother is kind of a forgotten Harpy card that's not even technically a Harpy card anymore. So actually I learned a little bit there. I didn't even really know that about him. Pretty cool. Duelist Kingdom rules. Yes, in the early ages of Duelist Kingdom, there were some rules that are just absolutely insane. Yugi attacks the moon, which causes the tidal waves to act weird. Just as one example, a famous example, attack the moon. Duelist Kingdom took place before there really were any rules on the actual card game, so that's why that is the case, and that's why when you go back and watch Duelist Kingdom, the duelists start with 2,000 life points. The rules make absolutely no sense. They have nothing to do with the actual game, so... That's interesting. Fire Dragon, one of the most misleading things from an opening. You can actually see the picture over there. Fire Dragon appears in Bastion's shot in the opening. We get a Water Dragon. We never get a Fire Dragon. What happened to the Fire Dragon? What happened to Bastion's character? Who on earth knows, honestly? I don't know. We never will know. But Fire Dragon, that monster right there in the shot, will always remain a mystery. Rejected 5D's openings. So I believe the story is this, that 4Kids back in the day hosted a poll where they let fans vote on what song they wanted the opening to be. I'm not too familiar with this. This is actually pretty interesting trivia. I should look more into it. And there are 5D's openings that were done. Music was produced for them that never made it, obviously, to the English dub opening. And the one we got was Hyperdrive, which I like Hyperdrive quite a bit. I believe that's what the rejected 5Ds openings is referring to here. And then Jesse Wheeler. Oh, my boy Jesse Wheeler. I've done a video on this as well, so I'll link that down below. Jesse Wheeler is referred to by name as Joey Wheeler's cousin in the anime of 5Ds and the dub of 5Ds, but not in the Japanese version. So Jesse Wheeler does not actually exist. A lot of people do. It's a big misconception. Outstanding Dog Maroon lore. Yeah, this is pretty sad lore. Outstanding Dog Maroon basically gets lost from its owner in the card Where Art Thou, and then we end up seeing that the Outstanding Dog Maroon becomes Skull Dog Maroon, I believe. That's something like that. And essentially becomes this vicious dog that passes away because it got separated from its owner, something along those lines. So, yeah, sad lore there for the best doggo in the world. Duel Monsters Yugioh grew up to be 5Ds Yugioh. Yeah, this was confirmed by the book, the 5Ds anniversary book, which I definitely have somewhere here. I actually do have it. I ordered this from Japan not too long ago. And yeah, this is the 10th anniversary book that confirmed a lot of different things, including what this next one is, which is basically that the Tetsu Trudge, the Yugioh from Season 0 from Duel Monsters, the bully, grew up to be Officer Yugioh in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So that's how we can connect the timeline right there. Confirmed, again, in this book. Pretty cool. Mad Dog's dub voice. Yeah, sounds like Mike Tyson. I don't know why they made that decision. His dub voice is insane. I mean, just, yeah. I mean, Mad Dog, an underground duelist, and he has just the, Mike Tyson voice. It's funny. Cards based on anime characters. Okay, so Konami references in cards. I'm going to count that as a stump because I guess I don't really know that because this is what I was referring to. There's a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'll have those videos linked down below that are based on anime characters or moments that took place in the anime. Really cool, honestly. Really cool. Definitely check it out. And going to our third level of the iceberg, we start with level 0 monsters. I know that I think there's one level 0 monster that exists, maybe two. The Crimson Dragon, Ultimate Tlazolin, or however you say that name, that is a level 0 monster. And it's kind of weird because a lot of people probably don't realize that level 0 is a thing. It's not really a thing, but it kind of is. Well, I mean, I guess it definitely is. Yeah, so level 0. I know that one. Gaga Gyo / Freed storyline. I know the Gaga Gyo storyline is amazing, but I don't know what it is. So I don't know what it is, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm sorry. That one does get me. I mean, I know everyone tells me the Gaga Gyo storyline is great, and I feel like I looked it up at one point, but I just don't remember it. So, unfortunately, we're not going to know that one. The Callan Special. I'm just going to type that into Google and see what pops up. It probably is a dub reference. Maybe he refers to something as the Callan Special at some point. But that one actually gets me, and I'm annoyed about that. That's an anime one that gets me. So, yeah, I do not know what the Callan Special is. But Zark in Episode 1, I do know what that is. That is the foreshadowing that takes place when, I don't think it was Episode 1, when Yuya and Yuzu duel. So maybe that's not what that's referring to. But when Yuya and Yuzu duel, on the left side of the screen, you usually have your bad character, and on the right, you have your good character. Yuzu, who is part of Rei, is on the right side of the screen, symbolizing that she is good. And Yuya is on the left, Zark, symbolizing that he is maybe not so good. Also, Yuzu beats Yuya in that first duel, which is foreshadowing for when Rei takes down Zark at the end of Arc 5. I have a whole video on it. Really, really great piece of foreshadowing there in the Arc 5 anime. World Legacy. It's World Legacy has another crazy amount of lore. Has to do with the cards. So that's what that's referring to. Zexal's Shadow Game. So there was a Shadow Duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Not a lot of people know this. It tends to slip my mind sometimes as well, and I feel like this is something that I would be probably a good discussion to do it on. When Shark and Vector duel in the past, obviously they, they're been around forever in the Zexal world. If you, are unfamiliar as being Baryons, they duel in a Shadow Game, and every time a player's monster is destroyed, they lose some of their warriors in their respective armies. Nash wins the duel, but he loses his entire army because he lost that many monsters in the duel. So not really a win there, and I did have to look that up to remind myself a little bit, because I vaguely remembered it, but yeah, Zexal did have a shadow game. I did kind of forget about that. That's actually really interesting. 10,000 Dragon. So 10,000 Dragon is a card that is worth more than $1,000. It is a ridiculously expensive card, a ridiculously hyped up card, and yeah, it's a pricey card. Get your hands on it. Cards that require physical interaction between players. Yeah. So one of these cards, I believe, is Yugioh Friendship. I just want to confirm. That's the one where you have to shake hands, right? Yugioh Friendship. Offer your opponent a handshake. If they accept, each player's life points become half. If you have Unity in your hand and show it to your opponent, they must accept the handshake. So the problem with this card early on, in the very early stages of Yu-Gi-Oh!, there's a lot of stories, and I've heard this from locals, and I'm sure most of you probably have, where what people would do is they'd play that card, they'd spit on their hand, and then they'd offer their opponent a handshake. And I'm not kidding. I mean, there's people there that I'm sure have heard the same stories and can vouch for that. Again, this is the very early days of Yu-Gi-Oh! And so what the Konami judges did is they said, any card that requires physical interaction, you can verbally confirm that you want to do it. So you can say, I accept your handshake, rather than, especially now in the days of COVID. I mean, this is way before that. But, yeah, and people would do disgusting things with their hands like that, and put that spell down. Yeah, people are gross, man. I mean, I don't really know what to say, but yeah, cards that require physical interaction. Not a good idea. Did not last long in the in the tournaments. Cosmic Blazar Dragon. Yeah, so Cosmic Blazar Dragon was utilized by Yusei in the Destroyed Future of the 5D's storyline, where Iliaster came from, where Zone, Aporia, and all of them came from. Cosmic Blazar Dragon, although we never saw it actually summoned in the anime, because it was utilized in the, actual Destroyed timeline, I don't think they ever printed Cosmic Blazar. They did, didn't they? Yeah, no, they did print Cosmic Blazar, which was actually really cool, but it was never used in the anime, even though it kind of was on the false timeline, or the Destroyed timeline. So Cosmic Blazar would have been really cool to see Yusei summon it against Zone, but hey, Quasar was just as amazing. You just summoned your mom. I know that's a dub one. I know that's a dub one. Right, Yuma said it. Yeah, Yuma. Yeah, okay. I knew it was from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub. I just didn't know what it was from. Yeah, Yuma says this line. I don't remember in regards to what. Again, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dubs are always kooky. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal one was especially kooky. You just summoned your mom. But yeah, look it up. It's a 5-second clip on YouTube. Yeah, amazing moment. So the original text of Wakubo, which Wabaku, which I was actually not familiar with, read, any damage inflicted by an opponent's monster is decreased to 0 during the turn this card is activated. And now, of course, it reads, you take no battle damage from your monsters this turn. Yeah, just kind of a weird text there. I don't know if there's anything else there that I'm missing, but yeah, Wabaku. Cool. It's a cool card. So it always weirded me out when I was a kid, that card. I don't know why. Adult Blair in 5Ds. I know this one. I did this in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds Things You Missed. You can actually see it. There is a character that looks exactly like Blair from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and if 5Ds is on the same timeline as GX, which because of Ushio we know is a fact, very well, it could be that Blair gave up her life dream to become a champion duelist, to become a Jack Atlas cheerleader. Not a bad backup plan. But yeah, Blair in 5Ds. Is that Blair? Very well could be. Slifer named after 4Kids executive. Yeah, Slifer's not the only card that was named after a 4Kids executive and a 4Kids, higher up corporate employee. Michelle Dunn. Rose Spectre of Dunn was named after Michelle Dunn, one of the 4Kids producer. And I believe it was Robert Slifer. Obviously, I don't want to get that name wrong. But yeah, Slifer, of course, Osiris in the actual, OCG and Japanese version. But when they changed it, Roger Slifer. Roger Slifer. Yeah, pretty cool that they used for some of their cards names of the workers that were working on the show to bring it to America. I always thought that was really cool. Infinite attack stat. We've seen this a few times with infinite attack. We saw it with Obelisk. We saw it with Divine God Gi. I used to say Divine God or Serpent God Gay, and then everyone laughed at that. I think it's Gi. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I always used to call it Serpent God Gay. But the one that in a serious manner, but the one that Darts utilized, the one that Darts summoned against Yugi in that final Season 4 duel. We've seen infinite attack stat a few times, and, you can't really grasp it because it's infinity. It's a strong monster. That's all you need to know. Mr. Clown, cut completely from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. This is one that I have done an extensive video on. Mr. Clown is a really effed up character, the father of Duke Devlin. Again, I'm not going to go too much into it, but you can find that video, more information there. Essentially, Mr. Clown, again, the father of Duke Devlin, used his son, abused his son. I'm pretty sure he actually punched his son in the face in one of the manga panels. Bandit Keith played the role that Mr. Clown played at the beginning of Battle City, because remember, he dies after his duel against Joey Wheeler in Duelist Kingdom, but he comes up in the manga. In the anime, he's still alive in Battle City. But yeah, Mr. Clown forces a penalty game on Yugi. Just a really, really effed up character. So, yeah, definitely look up that video on him. It's an interesting story. Honda's baby nephew, Joji, is a bit of a perverted, from what I remember, a very perverted character that has to do with especially Death T, and has a very big crush on Anzu. Very weird character. I'm trying to remember if he was in Season 0 or if they omitted him from Season 0. I feel like they omitted him. Yeah, I think he was a manga-only character, but if I'm wrong about that, let me know. But yeah, just a really, you can see the images. Ugly, creepy dude. But yeah, it's Honda's baby nephew. Not a lot of people know about him. So Kaiser Coliseum, I'm not really sure if it means anything deeper, but it's a spell card that has been banned for a long time. If there is one or more monster on the field of the controller of this card, his or her opponent cannot place a monster on the field if his or her number of monsters would exceed the number of monsters that are on the field of this card's controller. Jesus Christ. That is a long text. The cards that are already on the field before this card's activation are unaffected by this effect. All right, hold on. What does that even mean? What does that even mean, dude? Listen, I'm not intelligent. I'm not gonna lie. It's a banned spell card. That's really all I can say about it. Tyler the Great Warrior. This one gets me too. I do not know, but again, we don't know. We're gonna try and look it up. Wow. There are only 3 copies of Tyler the Great Warrior. I do not know the story of this card. It looks like a Dragon Ball character. 3,000 attack. I did not know this was a thing. This monster cannot be special summoned. When this card destroys a monster as a result of battle and send it to the grave, inflict damage to your opponent's life points equal. I think, okay, this is actually a pretty interesting story. I think this has to do with, oh, wow. I'm just going to read this. I did not know about this. This is actually really, wow, this is interesting. Tyler Gressel, 14, knows a lot about being a warrior. In October 2002, he was diagnosed with a rare form of liver cancer called undifferentiated embryonal sarcoma. It was discovered when he complained of pain. His parents took him to the doctor, then to a surgeon. During the surgery, the doctors discovered that the mass had burst, which caused the pain. The surgeon removed 25% of Tyler's liver. His prognosis was not good. Fortunately, his doctor had seen this case once before and had successfully treated the patient. After a long, hard battle, Tyler is perfectly healthy now. Wow. We want other families to know they can have hope and wishes do come true. Tyler had another fulfilled wish. The Make-A-Wish Foundation learned of Tyler and his family's battle and gave him the chance to design his own Yu-Gi-Oh card for 4 kids. The foundation's goal is to present each child, along with their family, a happy experience to help them feel normal. All I needed was a pencil and my imagination. His detailed drawing depicts a warrior deflecting an evil monster's terrible weapons. They unveiled the card on August 5th. Tyler and his family were also invited to New York City to meet with officials from 4Kids and were given a tour of the Yu-Gi-Oh facility. The card is based on the Dragon Ball character Future Trunks. I never knew this was a thing. Wow, that is such a heartwarming story. I wonder how Tyler's doing nowadays. That's great that he beat it. Yeah, so this is a, yeah, there are 3 copies of it. 2 are in the hands of Tyler, and the 3rd is in Konami's vault. So there are 3 copies of this card. Tyler has 2 of them, and 1 is in the Konami vault. That is a great story, man. That is really nice that they did something like that. And, of course, you know, that one had a happy ending. When I was starting to read it, I had a feeling that it was not going to have a happy ending. I'm happy it did. Well, never knew about that. That's very heartwarming. Yu-Gi-Oh! R. So Yu-Gi-Oh! R is a side spin-off manga that I have to reread. I have not read in probably about a decade now. But I believe it takes place after Battle City. And so it's just a side manga that was never adopted into an anime. I believe Yako Tenma was a major character from that. Yako Tenma. I'm pretty sure that's what his name was. If I'm wrong, correct me. But yeah, it's just a side manga that never got an anime. But interesting story there. The left-right theory. I have done a video on this. I feel like this was inspired, this one, right, from one of my videos. I even ran, like, data where I gave everyone, like, or I let people pick, like, 20 random duels from each show, and I analyzed how many fit this theory. But the theory is that, and it's not even a theory, I mean, it's pretty much a fact at this point, they put, when in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, the character that is good on the right and the character that is bad on the left, or the character that you're supposed to root for on the right, the character that you're supposed to root against on the left. Think about any duel right now, and think about any duel, especially one that has to do with protag versus antag. You're always going to have the antagonist on the left. The protagonist is always going to duel on the right side of the screen. It's basically proven at this point that that's the theme that they do, but I'll have that video linked down below as well. Dungeon Dice Monsters in real life. Yeah, they tried to make Dungeon Dice Monsters a game in real life. It didn't really sell well. It didn't go anywhere. But you can play Dungeon Dice Monsters in real life. And then Series 1 card layout. Actually, no, right above that, Sawatari's Underground Duels. Sawatari's Underground Duels. So I'm sure this just has to do with Arc 5. You think of Underground Duels, I think of like Hell Kaiser and those sort of Underground Duels. But Shingo was taken to an underground labor facility. Everyone that was in that tournament in Synchro and Arc 5 was taken there. And Shingo, as well as Shun and I believe a few other characters, had to duel their way out of the facility, essentially. And we never see those. I'm pretty sure most of those duels are off screen. I believe that's probably what that, unless there's something deeper there. Series 1 card layout. So I want to look this up. I actually don't know what the Series 1 card layout looked like. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Series 1 layout. Okay, I've seen it before. It's definitely different than what we're used to because the attack box is on the bottom right as opposed to being, where it is now. And I believe, does that go into Series 2 as well? It might. It's not until Series 3 where they changed it. But yeah, the early Yu-Gi-Oh cards were designed differently than the Yu-Gi-Oh cards you see now. And so those are the first 3. I feel like we've done pretty well. I feel like we know a lot of them. So let's keep going. 100,000 attack and defense. It is a ridiculous base stat of Don 1000, the final boss in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal's Numeronius Numeronia, Chaos Imaginary number 1000, that has 100,000 attack and 100,000 defense. Straight up. There's no effect. And if a turn goes by where you do not attack that monster, you lose the duel. Talk about overpowered antagonist. Light of Destruction plotline dropped. I don't know if this has to do with the movie, but the Light of Destruction plotline obviously was major in Season 2 of GX. Light of Destruction plotline dropped. Maybe it has to do with the movie, where they were gonna, there was a movie that was planned, Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but that basically became what Season 2 of GX was. So I'm not really sure what that means. That's something that I am not too familiar with, and I feel like I know a lot of, especially when it comes to dropped plot lines. Maybe I do know and I'm just missing it, but that one is stumping me right now. So give me some clarity down below on that one. I love this one. Roku is a descendant of Yugi. I mean, this is one of my theories right here. I mean, I feel like, and again, I don't want to say that, I was the one that coined this, but this is one of my theories that I feel like I'm one of my prouder theories. Roku, the old man from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, is a descendant of Yugi. He uses Black Luster Soldier, which is a Yugi monster. I believe it was Black Luster Soldier. An iconic Yu-Gi-Moto, a legendary Yami-Yugi Yu-Gi-Moto monster. He lives in a dojo with all of these legendary monsters, and he has the ability to bring these legendary monsters to life. Yeah, it's a cool theory. Check it out. I implore you if you want more there. But I'm happy that one made it. That's kind of one of my theories there. I'm happy. Eve's legendary monsters. Yeah, this is going to be, I'm letting you guys know, the timeline. You guys won't believe me, but if you've made it this far, the timeline is going to come out in the next month and a half, the updated timeline. This is a massive point in my timeline theory. But basically, Eve's legendary monsters is an archetype of Zone. The Time Lords is an archetype of the Sacred Beasts, I want to say, from GX. Is it Sacred Beasts? I think so. And Dawn Thousand's monsters. And when they're summoned, Yuya makes the remark, these are all legendary monsters. You wouldn't say that about regular monsters. And there's definitely a tie-in there that will be very major when I piece together my timeline later in 2020. So keep an eye on that. Dark Signer Crow. Yes. So Crow was rumored. And again, this book apparently confirms it, although I didn't find it in this book. The book is completely in, Japanese, so I need someone to translate it for me. But Dark Signer Crow was apparently the plan. Crow was to be the final Dark Signer boss. With how popular Blackwings were, they said, nah, Crow is not going to be a Dark Signer. Instead, he's going to be the tritagonist, basically, of Season 3 and on. And that's what happened. But the original plans, allegedly, was that Crow was to be a Dark Signer. Pegasus confirmed death in 5Ds. Yeah, a lot of this is in my Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, things you didn't know, things you missed video. I'll link that down below as well. Dark Signer Crow, and this was in. But there is a statue, or a sponsor, I'm sorry, it might be a statue, that reads Pegasus J. Crawford Memorial Fund, or Memorial Foundation. Obviously, in memoriam means someone has passed away. Pegasus is dead in 5Ds. They literally confirm that. So that's a pretty interesting piece of trivia. I should do a video on that. The chess pieces plans. Yes. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain. So we're getting into more recent things. The chess pieces were these bosses of Soul Tech that showed up very early on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. It was clear that they were intended to be, I think a lot of people, including myself, believe, major points in the show. Unfortunately, that never happened. The chess pieces were basically forgotten about, written out of the show after the new director came in, and they never did anything with the chess pieces. Really, they never did anything with Soul Tech, and I hope there's another Soul Tech thing that comes on a little later on this list about the spy in Soul Technologies. If this one made it, we probably will get to that one. There is so much Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain stuff that just got dropped. I did a video, top 5 forgotten storylines in Vrains. Watch it, because, that's on it. A lot of things are on it. But yeah, chess pieces just, they just were scrapped plot lines in Vrains. Himika Akaba's scrapped plot. Yeah. So one of the summaries of Arc 5, I forget what it was. Did I do a video on this? Hold on. Yes, I did. So I did a whole video dedicated to this back in May 2018. But yeah, essentially, the summary for one of the late episodes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and I'll actually pull it up for you guys, so I have no problem doing that. And I'll show it as well. But the summary said that, Reiji's father, Leo, begins to talk about the day the world was split into 4, which happened. However, he also brings up to Reiji about how he feels about the girl Rei, who took his place to stand up to Zark, which happens. And as his father does, explain all of this, Reiji realizes the scheme his mother, Himika, has following. Unfortunately, even though that was part of the summary, Himika Akaba is never mentioned in the episode, and there is absolutely nothing to do with her. Was it a mistranslation? Was there something, that was scrapped at the last minute? Very likely, I don't know what was planned. I don't know what could have been planned. Was Himika Akaba going to be revealed to be like a major villain in this? I don't know, but it never happened. She wasn't even in the episode. So, summary, misled us there pretty hardcore. Again, that'll be linked down below. Toon Dark Magician Girl's incomplete text. This one gets me. Let me look this up. Well, I see at the time of this card's release, it had one of the longest texts in the game, clocking in at 200 or 120 words. But I don't... Oh, okay. The card is the only toon monster that is capable of attacking on the same turn. It was summoned under normal conditions, and at that time was the only toon monster that did not need 500 life points to attack. This unintentionally... Okay, so when they made Toon Dark Magician Girl, they forgot to, I guess, add in the text that it needed life point costs to attack, and that it could attack on the same turn it was summoned. Alright, so that's pretty funny. So they kind of messed up with the text there on Toon Dark Magician Girl. Never knew that. That's pretty interesting. Yugioh in GX. Much like Miho, Yugioh's name appears in the filing when darkness is wiping out the world in Season 4. We see Yugioh's name appear. Adult Bracelet Girls. Adult Bracelet Girls. Do I know what that is? Obviously, the Bracelet Girls refer to Yuzu, Rin, Ruri, and Serena. And then they form to become an adult. They form to become Rei. Maybe that's what it means. Maybe there's something deeper there. I'm not too sure. That's interesting. Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters anime. Yeah, so there is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters anime that I believe was produced by 4Kids. This is one of the only pieces of Yu-Gi-Oh! Media that I have never seen in my life. I really should watch the Capsule Monsters anime. That would be a fun stream. But yeah, it was not very well known. Only like 12 episodes or so, and it was produced by 4Kids, so check it out. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's great. Past protagonists in Arc 5. Yeah, so this is a theory. It's not really one of my theories. Actually, no, it kind of is one of my theories. The reason that the protagonists are not in Arc 5, and, you know, Arc 5 goes back to older places, and we see legacy characters, yet there's no protagonists. I believe that when Zark recreated the world, he made sure that the previous protagonists were not going to be reborn into the world, because he knew that they would pose the greatest risk of him being defeated. I have a whole theory, one of my earliest theory videos. I uploaded that probably before I even had 1,000 subs. So if you remember that video, or if you've never seen it before, you know, if you remember it, that's impressive. But check it out if you haven't. But yeah, they just were not in Arc 5. We don't know why. We can theorize all day. We'll never really know why. Rank 13. We have seen rank 13 monsters not often. I believe the only one, correct me if I'm wrong, is Numeronius Numeronia, the monster with 100,000 attack and defense. We started there at the beginning of this portion. Yeah, I mean, there's only 12 levels. How can there be a rank 13 monster? I don't know. Rank up magic. There you go. Nicktoons, Zexel, and Arc 5 rap commercials. Oh, God, do I want to even... I've seen Arc 5... the Arc 5 rap. I don't know if it's even on YouTube. Basically what this is, if you can find it, they're very obscure, is the way that they promoted Zexel and Arc 5 is they gave each of those respective shows raps when they were trying to promote the dub. Not 4Kids, I believe Nicktoons, and I remember them being pretty cringe. But definitely, you know, if you can find it, that's great. I'm not going to look them up right now, but that's what that's referring to. Wizards and Magic... I don't know if that's referring to Magic the Gathering. That completely has me stumped. Completely has me stumped. I don't know what that could be referring to. So that one got me. Grandpa Moto's past. This is an interesting one. So Grandpa Moto, I believe, was a massive gambler back in the early days of the manga. And he was a guy that, you know, collected treasures, but he was a pretty big badass back in his day, and if you only watch the anime without reading the manga, you probably wouldn't know that. But I don't know if there's anything deeper or creepier there, but yeah, Grandpa Moto was a bit of a bamf, as the kids would say. So Henry Tudor, I had to look this up because I have never played Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duelists of the Roses, but Henry Tudor is the incarnation of Yami Yugi and portrayal of Henry Tudor, Henry VII of England, He is the king of the Red Roses of Lancaster. In the beginning of the game, he says his name is Henry Tudor, but he has become tiresome of this name and prefers to be called Yugioh. All right, that's it's an interesting piece of trivia. I did not know that. I never played Duelist of the Roses. We're learning things here, which is always a good thing. All right, where were we? Windy's partner, Yugioh Vrains. All 6 Ignis had partners. Windy was one of the Ignis, but his partner, I don't know if we ever even learned the name of his partner. His partner was killed before the events of Vrains begin, before episode 1 begins. Windy hacked into a car and drove that car into his partner and killed his partner. And in most cases in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like, oh, well, they're not really dead. He's probably in a coma. No, he was never heard from as the show progressed, and he probably is legitimately dead. Really dark, really effed up, and we never learned more about him. We never even saw his full face. We never saw his full facial features. He said goodbye to his friends walking home, and Windy drove a car into him. Yeah, we're still talking about a Yu-Gi-Oh anime. One of the more effed up things Vrains did and Yu-Gi-Oh has done. The Zork Necrophades Dark Master Zork connection. This one, honestly, I've been looking at it for a while. I'm going to look it up. But this one kind of has me. Oh, okay. So, Dark Master Zork is a really cool fiend ritual monster that probably is in direct reference to Zork Necrophades, which is obviously Yami Bakura's true form, the main villain of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! So, cool connection. I don't know if it's deeper. It probably is deeper. I don't know if it's deeper, though, but I had to look that one up. That one got me. Guardian Elma. So, I know this is obviously a monster that was used by Raphael in Season 4. I'm not really sure if there's something deeper here. There probably is. The only thing that I see here is that the card appears in a flashback Yami has when he notes to Raphael his heart was crying when this card was destroyed and he ruthlessly sacrificed his monsters. It also appears in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX closing song, Borderline Battle, which is kind of weird because the monster was not shown in that anime. Don't know if there's something deeper there. That one kind of has me. Sly's dropped storyline. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's 5 Forgotten Storylines. That'll be linked down below. Sly was a character where an episode of the very all-over-the-place Season 3 of 5D's ended with him saying, Stardust Dragon, I want it. I'm going to have it. The episode fades to black. You're like, all right, well, that's going to be a storyline. He's going to steal Stardust. Yusei's going to have to get it back. Nah, we never hear from Sly. He just disappears. Definitely had a plot line there, a lot of us believe. And yeah, he, never did anything. Spectre's treatment in Season 3. I have a video dedicated to this as well. It's actually scary to me how we are getting further and further down the iceberg, and I have more and more dedicated videos to these things. That is scary. That's not a good sign. That shows that my channel is just a wormhole, really. That's not the wormhole, down the wormhole. Yeah, so Spectre, after being one of the more compelling characters of Season 1 and polarizing characters of Season 1 and even Season 2, a great duel against Lightning, says no words until the final episodes in Season 3. The final episode even gets killed off screen by Ai in a duel. We never see the duel, which is a complete travesty what happened to his character. There were rumors that maybe there was a contractual dispute with his voice actor, even though his voice actor came out after Vrains ended and said, yeah, I wish I did more. I wish they, had me do more, but I'm as Japanese voice actor, but I'm happy that I was part of the final episode. I mean, come on, man. How can you treat Spectre like that? I don't get it. His treatment in Season 3 was abhorrent. The Wicked Gods. So the Wicked Gods are, I believe, I remember them being the evil gods. I don't know if they're the same thing, but they're from the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga. They're from the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga, and I believe each one of them is based off of the 3 Egyptian gods. The names, I looked them up here. Avatar, Dreadroot, and Eraser. But yeah, they are literally wicked gods that all resemble Obelisk, Slifer, and Ra that appear in the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga that not a lot of people know about because, again, most people probably that are in the community did not read Yu-Gi-Oh! Are. So it's a good manga. I would definitely give it a read if you have the chance. Duel Monsters Ceremonial Duel Timeline Split. Huh. Does that have to do with Dark Side of Dimensions? No. That was stupid. That definitely does not have to do with Dark Side of Dimensions. I don't know why I thought that. DM Ceremonial Duel Timeline Split. This has to do with the fact that when a Tem walks through the door, he gets ported back into time. I don't know too much about that one. I mean, maybe that's what it's referring to, because obviously Yugi defeats a Tem at the end of Duel Monsters. The Tem walks back into the past, and so when a Tem leaves, the timeline split because now a Tem is in the past. Maybe that's what that's referring to. I don't know. That one kind of gets me. Fusion Neos Wise Man print. It was printed in Crossroads of Chaos. Maybe there was an issue with the printing of it. It does have an errata, so maybe there was an issue with the way that it printed, or maybe there was something I don't know about Neos Wise Man. That one gets me. Another stump. That one gets me. I really don't know what that's referring to. LDS War Crimes. So I don't know if this is tying to Leo Akaba. Obviously, Leo Akaba was a big part of LDS. He left to go to Fusion, and then when he went to Fusion, he invaded the Xyz dimension and wiped out the Xyz dimension, pushed it to the brink of destruction, really destroyed Heartland City. And so, yeah, I guess if you want to tie him to LDS, Leo Duel School, I'm fine with that. I mean, it was named after him. Then, yeah, they committed some pretty messed up war crimes. Tried to invade Synchro, but it was prevented thanks to the Lancers being there, which was, I guess, the almost counter-terrorism group to what Leo Akaba was trying to do. The Kaiba Dome. I did a video on this, actually, very, very recently. The Kaiba Dome is not actually called the Kaiba Dome. The Kaiba Dome is what it's referred to many times in the English dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, referring to the one in 5Ds, but it is never called that in the original version. So if you want more info on that, video down below. Yeah, interesting fun fact. Another big misconception in a lot of people have in the fandom. Kazuna, I know, means bonds. Bond AI and Vrans. Huh. I do not know this. Wow, that's another X. I'm stunned. I mean, I would think that I would know almost everything Vrains related. I can't put my finger on this one. And we've been doing better as we've gotten deeper, which is not a good thing. But Kazuna, Eye, and Vrains, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So that one gets me. Damn. Normal monster, Zera the Mant. I believe Zera the Mant in the manga was originally a normal monster. Let me just fact check that. Oh, actually, it was printed as a normal monster. For the 1999 Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters National Tournament prize cards. So a Zera the Mant normal monster was printed. Oh my god, I can't even imagine how much that goes for. I mean, what is the value on that? Oh my god, that's probably crazy. But yeah, Zera the Mant, which is obviously we know as a ritual monster, was originally a normal monster before they changed it to a ritual monster. So fun fact there. All right, my brain is getting fried, you guys. I am going to call it for a night, and I'm going to get back to this tomorrow. Well, it is now March 19th. I took a, I don't know how long break. I'm wearing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Christmas shirt. When I get my life in order, I'll let you know, but that's how we do things on this channel. So let's proceed to the two deepest depths of this iceberg, and let's tread on. So starting with the Bandai card game, I actually don't know what this is, so that's not a good one right off the bat. Let me look it up. Here we go. In 1998, Bandai obtained a license to create Yu-Gi-Oh! Merch from Toei Animation, which obviously Toei was responsible for Season 0, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! The company that created the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. From then to 99, Bandai would release a total of 3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Sets under the name Yu-Gi-Oh! Bandai's official card game. Wow, did not know that. So that's pretty crazy. Maybe I did know that, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Bandai OCG 3rd generation. I wonder how much this goes for. Let me see if I can find something. It actually does not go for nearly as much as I thought it would. The Bandai's 1st generation Yu-Gi-Oh! 14 wholesale sheets only goes for $150. I thought it would go for a lot more. Maybe sealed product for 20 years. I'm sure it probably does. But I've seen this kind of artwork before. I just didn't realize it was Bandai Namco that did it. and they had the rights to it. That's pretty cool, actually. That's pretty cool. Mokuba survives a lethal dose of poison. I'm 99% sure that was from Season 0 from the original manga, where Mokuba got injected with a dose of poison that should have killed him, but it didn't. So I guess that means Mokuba is immune to poison. I guess that's what we are implying here, which is, yeah, kind of weird that he survived that. Tamaya / Poison Butterfly Fusion. I know this one. This has actually appeared on my top 10 cards we will never get answers to, or some stupid title like that, where I looked at cards that were foreshadowed in the anime that never actually showed up. This was a pretty big one. Yugi was about to fuse. I think it was against Weevil, Tamayas, and Poison Butterfly. Weevil prevented the fusion from happening at the last moment. We never know, and we never will know, what the outcome of that fusion was going to be, and that card will always remain a mystery. 5D is meant to be the final show, so this is an interesting one. I've heard this with GX. I've also heard this with 5Ds, that Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds was meant to be the last Yu-Gi-Oh! And that it was supposed to end after the Dark Signers arc, which is why there was such a stark turn in what Iliaster represented, and just the pace of 5Ds after the Dark Signers arc, because they didn't really have a story, and they kind of had to whip one out of the blue. That's at least a variation that I've heard of this. I don't know if I've ever seen any concrete evidence that 5Ds was actually supposed to be the final show. I know a lot of people like to quote a Kazuki Takahashi interview, but I don't know if I've ever seen any hard concrete evidence. But that is one of those rumors that has been out there since really 5Ds was airing. I heard it with Arc 5 as well, that Arc 5 was a send-off to all the shows, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains was announced. So, this is just kind of one of those things that I think follows a lot of the spin-off shows. Season 0 video game adaptation. That's actually hilarious. Is that actually true? I can't find any information on it, but maybe there was a video game that was being planned, or maybe there wasn't. The thought of a Season 0 video game is hilarious, mainly because again, Yu-Gi-Oh! In Season 0 was not what we know and love Yu-Gi-Oh! To be today. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a collection of different penalty games, if you will. So, the video game would have had to be rated M. Like, it could not have been maybe they could have gotten away with a T-rated game, but if you're setting people on fire and murdering people and taking down terrorists in amusement parks, I can't imagine that would have been a very E for everyone video game. So that would have been flippin' amazing if we ever got a Season 0 video game. Missing Arcana Force monsters. I believe this just refers to a few Arcana Force monsters that were never printed. I'm pretty sure at least that's what it refers to. Like, I believe Arcana Force XV the Fiend was never printed. I believe this was one monster that's never been printed. So there were a few Arcana Force monsters that just never got printed. We don't really know why. If you have any theories as to why some of these were not printed, please let me know. But, yeah, kind of weird that they didn't print all of them. Maji Magician Gal in the TCG. So isn't this the, like, Dark Magician XZ's monster? The Dark Magician Girl XZ's monster? Yeah, so I've seen this before. I'm pretty sure this is a TCG exclusive, an OCG exclusive monster. And I'm surprised they never put it into the TCG, because I'd imagine that this card would sell really well. I mean, it's literally an alt artwork of Dark Magician Girl on an XZ's monster. For those of you that don't know, it is a 2-level 6 spellcaster monster condition, XZ's monster, and then once per turn you can detach one material, banish a card from your hand, and then you can target a monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase, or target a monster in your opponent's grave and special summon it to your side of the field. Why Maji Magician Gal, which is, again, clearly just dark. I mean, I think this would be a huge hit if this ever came out in the TCG, knowing how Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are with their waifus. Why this was never brought to the TCG is a really good question. It's honestly a really cool monster. I'm pretty sure it was a promo in Shonen Jump. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that was a card I actually never even put 2 and 2 together, that it was never brought to the TCG. But I've seen the card before. I'm sure most of you have. Mismatched pendulum scales. So obviously we know what pendulum scales are. I've never heard of this, but there is a Reddit post from 4 years ago that has the same title. I remember before Pendulum Monsters were released reading about how if a Pendulum Monster was in the left zone, the blue scale number would be active, and in the right, the red scale number would be active. This implied that there would be Pendulum Monsters with mismatched scales, but that has not been shown to be true, or that has been shown to not be true. Out of curiosity, does anyone think this sort of thing will actually happen? Huh, that's pretty interesting. So I guess maybe when pendulums were first revealed, I actually don't remember that they said something along those lines that would imply you could have mismatched scales. Obviously, that was not the case. I wonder if that was an early scrapped idea with Pendulum Monsters. Pretty interesting. So I'm actually going to skip Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon format and evenly matched common reprint and go to the next two, which are right up my alley. Super Fusion God. Very similarly to the Tamaya / Poison Butterfly fusion, Super Fusion God was a monster that we never actually saw in GX. This was a monster that I believe was going to be used by Yubel, right, during the Yubel and Judai duel at the end of Season 3. Yeah, I just wanted to fact-check that, and you can see some fan-made cards have been made of the tower where Judai and Yubel were dueling. 12 monsters with different levels from 1 to 12. It's just a ridiculous requirement card. And as this monster was about to be summoned, a monster that was going to be so powerful that it literally would have, I'm pretty sure, fused all the worlds together or ended all life. I forget what it was something crazy like that in the anime. Judai then used Super Fusion to fuse him and Yubel together, preventing Super Fusion God. But what is Super Fusion God? What would Super Fusion God have done to the world and reality? It'll always remain one of those chilling mysteries, as will the next one, the Closed 8. So the Closed 8, and this is true, according to a Zexal summary for, I forget what episode, was a spell card that a Baryon, what was the name of the Baryon? Oh, I'm going to have to look it up, aren't I? Alco the Baryon. Now, I've done a video on this. I'll link the video. There's going to be a lot of videos linked down below. Alco would have given this card to Kaito, who would have attempted to give it to Yuma. And this was, again, an official preview summary for episode 131 of Zexal. Alco never appeared. The Closed 8 never appeared. Kind of weird. Remember, there's 7 Baryon Emperors. Obviously, 8 probably represents maybe sealing the Baryons. I don't really know, but whatever the original plan was for that Baryon Onslaught arc, which ended up being, in my opinion, one of the best arcs any Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime has ever given us, the original plans got scrapped. Alco ultimately never appeared, and the Closed 8 never appeared. So definitely just one of those weirder things, and a card that will also always remain a mystery. The anime timeline. Yeah, the anime timeline runs deep. Obviously, I have probably the way a lot of you guys know me is from that anime timeline video I did a few years ago. I think it's got over like 1.5 million views, which is insane. You know, I'm not going to talk too much about the anime timeline. I think I already have. The Lost Zexal dub. I like how they put do not research. The Lost Zexal dub was a dub of Zexal that I believe Funimation was working on. I'm actually going to have a whole video coming out on this very soon. So, because I have a little bit of insider knowledge on that dub. So I'm not going to touch more on it. But if you type in Zexal dub Funimation on YouTube, you'll get a fun video. Fubuki and Duel Links. Atticus Rhodes. Are we ever going to see him in Duel Links? Probably not at this point. I'm a pessimist when it comes to Fubuki. I've lost all hope. I would love to see him. I would love to see more Red Eye support. I just don't think it's going to happen. And it's a shame because it's not like he was a waste of a character in GX. Like, he was pretty relevant in GX. So I'm stunned that he's probably never coming to Duel Links. Ryo Marufuji in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. In one of the episodes of Arc 5, Ryo Marufuji's name was listed on the chalkboard as a legendary duelist from the Fusion Dimension. However, we never saw Hellkaiser appear in Arc 5. I've done a theory on this. I believe Hellkaiser must have been killed off, carded, or just simply dead in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. I think he probably died in the war. If you want more details on that theory, I'll link it down below. Amon lives through GX. Pretty interesting, right? We don't know what happens to Amon after he loses to Yubel. I guess that's a theory. I've never really touched that theory myself. Interesting theory there. I hope not. I hated Amon. 4Kids Uncut Duel Monsters dub. So they actually, if you type this in on YouTube, it'll probably pop up. There is an Uncut Duel Monsters dub where they stuck to the original script. They used the original music from the actual Japanese OST, and it's really fascinating. And so you can see what, like, a more true to style dub would have looked like with Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously, 4Kids likes to put their own touches and their own flares on their dub, but there is a version only a few episodes long where they did not do that, and they used the Japanese songs, and they used the actual script from the Japanese version. Pretty interesting. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Card Almanac on the Nintendo DS. I actually don't know this. It's a card database video game released for the DS. It is not actually a game, but a detailed catalog of all cards released in the TCG or OCG up until Strike of Neos. It also includes tools to aid in real-life gameplay. Did you guys know this existed? I had no idea this existed. It's not even a video game. It's just a card almanac. I hope they weren't selling it for more than like $10. That's crazy. That's crazy that they made that. Wow. The next one we've already touched on, Alco the Barian Observer, character that was supposed to give Kaido the closed 8, never showed up. Battle City version 2, when Judai goes to his, weird world, dream world, if you will, when he duels Yugi at the end of GX, he picks up a flyer. On that flyer, it reads Battle City version 2, implying there was another Battle City tournament that took place in that world, at least in that universe. Kind of fascinating. My money would be on Yugi to win it again. Yugioh in the astral world. So this is pretty fascinating. I've done another video on this. It's actually scary. The deeper we're going into this iceberg, the more videos I've done on these topics. I don't know what that says about me or my channel, but Yugioh being in these shows after 5Ds is kind of a common thing. There's an outline of Yugioh as one of the characters in Astroworld. There's an outline of him in an Arc 5 background, I'm pretty sure, or he's mentioned in Arc 5. I forget exactly his Arc 5 debut. And then in Vrains, there's a flashback of Soulburner beating up these bullies, and one of the bullies heavily represents Yugioh. So he's transcended every single show. He probably won't show up in 7s because it's a different studio, but I'm keeping my eye out for Yugioh in 7s, don't worry. Chaos Neos Ghost Rare Misprint. I actually don't know this one. Oh my god. So, this is a crazy misprint. So, instead of obviously printing Chaos Neos, the name is Rainbow Dragon. You can buy it on Amazon right now if you want. $700. That is crazy. I guess that was a pretty popular misprint in the community. First time I've heard of it. Tag Force cameos in Cardfight Vanguard, another thing I've discussed in a video or two. Very weird. In the subbed version of an episode of Cardfight Vanguard, you can clearly see characters that appeared in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force games, but then in the dubbed version of the same episode, those characters are removed. So it's almost like they got in trouble for using those characters, and I'm not sure why Cardfight Vanguard would even do that. Obviously, Cardfight Vanguard and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are not friends. I mean, maybe they're friendly with each other, but they're rival companies. So I don't know, and rival IPs. So they definitely did not get permission to do that. And I don't know why it was changed in the dub. Maybe they got in trouble for it. One of the weirder cameos in any show for any Yu-Gi-Oh characters, honestly. Hanoi's Mole in Soul Tech. So around episode 71, if I nailed that episode, that's pretty insane. Playmaker and Revolver are having a conversation, Yusaku and Varus, in the real world. And Yusaku says to Ryoken, he says, there's a spy in Soul Tech, isn't there, that works for the Knights of Hanoi? And Ryoken gives kind of a smirk, implying, like, yes, there is. And we figured, oh, that's going to be a plot line. Maybe it'll be Hayami, the clumsy assistant that brings no suspicion whatsoever. However, they never expanded on it. It seemed like that was going to be such a big plot point down the road. And much like a few things that were hinted at in Vrains, the chess pieces being the other things, just never was touched on again, which is a real shame. Going into the final area. God, I already see some things here that that I've already that are actually theories of mine. I believe they originated from my channel, which is really cool. Starting with the Divine Attribute Ignis. The Divine Attribute Ignis was a big theory when Vrains was airing, that there was going to be a 7th Ignis, or this was going to be the Ignis that Bowman was going to create when he fused all of the Ignis together. Ultimately, maybe Bowman is that Divine Attribute Ignis, or maybe it just was never going to happen. But whether there was that 7th almighty, all-powerful Ignis somewhere in Link Vrains, we'll never know. The Roma Sophie cult. Oh boy. Well, this is one of the darker things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because unfortunately it does transcend the actual game and anime into real life, and whenever that happens, you know, you have to just kind of feel sympathetic for the people that were involved. But the Roma Sophie cult was a cult in Japan that Carly's voice actress was a part of. It was essentially a BDSM cult. I mean, a lot of the articles have been wiped from the internet, but basically men would beat up women. Obviously, it was consensual. I did read that the way they got caught was that one woman member got beat up so badly she had to go to the hospital. She told the ER staff what had happened, and the whole cult got unveiled. Carly's voice actress was a part of that cult, and so they had to get rid of her because obviously it was not a good look for the company, or, you know, it's just just kind of a sad thing. And Carly's character, because of that, after Dark Signers, became completely irrelevant. So the Roma Sophie cult did have a pretty deep impact on the 5Ds anime, and obviously, you know, your thoughts go out to everyone that's involved, and you hope everyone that was involved in it is, you know, doing better now. OCG cards based on tournament finalists. I've looked this up, and I have not been able to find out what this means. Maybe there's a theory out there, or maybe it's a fact that some of the cards in the OCG were based on what, like, winners looked like of the tournament finals. I really don't know. That one has me stumped. Let me know down below. But this next one, if you've watched my channel for a while, you should all know this one. This was one of my theories. I believe I originated this theory, that Darkness, Night Shroud, the final villain of GX, the god of the underworld, Satan, Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call him, predicts the future shows. Yeah, it's as simple as that. In one of his monologues, he goes on this rant about abnormal weather, which ended up being, you know, data storms and rains, horrible wars, which referred to Arc 5, a card that created the universe, which referred to the Numeron code in Zexal. It's really flippin' weird. Really weird. I have a whole theory video on it, and that'll be linked down below. It's one of my... I'm very proud of that theory. Definitely check it out. Legendary Duelist Yugioh Arc 5. Yeah, Yugioh, as we just talked about with Trudge, you know, he transcends the timeline, so he also appeared in Arc 5. Orichalco's anime effect in real life, where if you lose the duel, you lose your soul. That's kind of chilling. I don't I don't know what that I don't know what that's about, but I don't know, maybe there's been reports of people dying after duels, and we can blame the Orichalcos. Face down attack position. Was that ever a thing? Face down attack position? Oh yeah, there's a card called Darkness Approaches. Discard 2 cards from your hand, select 1 face-up monster, and flip it face down, but do not change its battle position. I guess if you do that... Okay, so there was an errata. There was an errata for that card in 2017. Wow, so there used to be a way to get face-down attack position monsters. It's pretty crazy. That is actually really, really cool. Never knew that. Rokujuro is Yugi. Yes, this is another theory of mine. It's getting pretty scary. There's a lot of theories of mine popping up that the grandpa in Zexal is actually a much older version of Yugimoto. I like that theory a lot as well. I'm proud of that one. I'll link it down below. I'm not going to get too into it here, but yeah, watch it if you're interested. Pendulum in Vrains. Yes, this was a good call that I made about after episode 7. Of the video right here. I said pendulums are not going to be in Vrains. I'm confident on that. They just showed the board in episode 7, and there were no pendulum zones. And I was like, yeah, pendulums just don't exist in Vrains. And I remember early on, people were like, well, Dylan, we're 7 episodes in. You can't say that. That's crazy. It's way too early. I was right on that. There were no pendulums in Vrains. Where were they? What does that mean from a timeline perspective? Stay tuned. The mysterious boy Proto. Proto, much like Alco and much like the Closed 8 spell card, was a character that was confirmed to be appearing in Zexal in a summary, an official summary, that never ended up appearing. So, Barry and Onslaught arc as well. So, Zexal had a lot of changes last minute. Edo Pro is developed by Konami. Obviously, Edo Pro is a is a server that you can play on and duel on that I'm pretty sure Konami has gone after before. So I love that conspiracy theory that for whatever reason Konami developed Edo Pro to, I guess, get more people to duel. I like that. I don't know if there's any validity to that, but that's a pretty fun one for a dark part of this iceberg. The real reason genocide is a plotline in all shows. That is a good, deep iceberg statement. I'll let your imaginations run wild on that one. Millennium Thousand Eyes Virus. Kevin Tewart, who I believe worked for Konami, said that Millennium Thousand Eyes Virus card is the best card in the game, and he's the only one that owns it, but he didn't tell us anything about its effects, card text type, or anything. That's pretty cool. So obviously this is a great troll job by Kevin, I would imagine. Obviously this card does not exist, but you got to put it deep in the iceberg there. Millennium Thousand Eyes Virus. Even the name is so OP, right? Millennium Thousand Eyes Virus. Just gives you an auto win. We'll just go with that. The Forbidden Vrains ending. I also have a video on this. The Vrains ending was originally supposed to be much darker than the one we got. It would have had artificial intelligence winning, and that scene of Yusaku getting mowed down by tanks very well could have been the reality rather than Ai's, future vision of what was going to happen if he ended up taking over the world, or if artificial intelligence ended up taking over the world, which is why he ended up getting Yusaku in that duel to defeat him and basically kill him. But yeah, Vrains was supposed to have a much grimmer ending where humanity was going to lose. They did not go that way. Yugi versus Judai was a dream sequence. I stand by this. This is probably my most controversial theory. A lot of people do not like to agree with me on this, but I stand by this theory, man. There's just too many weird things that happened at the end of GX in those last 2 episodes. I break it down, and you're going to have like 8 videos of mine that you want to watch if you want to get caught up on all this. But basically, there was some inconsistencies with reality that happened in that Judai-Yugi duel, and I believe it was a dream, and quite a few others do as well. But it's a very argued theory, so, it'll be linked down below. Multiple permanent deaths in the GX dub. Yeah, so the GX dub ends when they all get teleported back to Duel Academy at the end of Season 3. Season 4 does not exist in the GX dub canon, neither does the final episode of Season 3, and because of that, Judai stays dead, Hellkaiser stays dead, Amon was legitimate, he stayed dead, and there were probably a few others, but there were characters that legitimately died, including Judai, in the canon of the GX dub, because they never dubbed the last episode of that season, which saw Judai return safe and sound. Interesting decision there, but it's hilarious to me that the GX dub probably has the most grim ending that any Yu-Gi-Oh series does, just because of where they chose to end it. Darkness Neosphere's connection to Neospace. Neosphere, Neospace. I like that one. I've actually never thought about that. That's interesting. Obviously, Neospace is very well connected with Judai and with his, monsters. And Darkness is obviously in my opinion, the devil of the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. Interesting theory there. I've never made that connection. I didn't even know that was really a theory, but I gotta look into that a little bit. Create a card 2020 poll botting conspiracy. I thought this was actually really cool that Yu-Gi-Oh did this. They did polls on Twitter to decide what archetype was going to get a spell card, I believe, as support. Unfortunately, some dedicated fans use this as an opportunity to bot the polls. It was very obvious that the polls were being botted. People even bragged about it on Facebook groups. Guys, if you're going to bot polls, which is kind of silly to do, don't brag about it on Facebook. Konami caught wind of this. They canceled the poll, and then they set it up on their own private database where you had to answer questions to prove you're not a bot to prevent poll botting, which is very easy to do with public Twitter polls. And then the poll showdown continued. But yeah, it was pretty wild there in the summer. I believe it was the summer of 2020. And then finally, Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Yu-Gi-Oh! GX rejected movie pitch. If you want to know what that movie would have been, just look at Season 2. That's pretty much what it would have been. But yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I have another video on this, sadly, that I'll link down below. This was a movie that was going to be done right before Bonds Beyond Time and right after Pyramid of Light, where the cast of Yu-Gi-Oh! Would have taken on the cast of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and then they would have ended up, I think, having to work together to defeat Sayu, who ended up being the main villain of Season 2. We kind of see them pay a little bit of homage to this movie when they go to Domino City, where they run into Yugi's grandfather, where there is a conversation between Sayu and Kaiba, but ultimately, this movie would have been awesome, and we never got it. So, kind of a shame. But guys, that completes the Yu-Gi-Oh! Iceberg. Oh my lord. Once again, a huge shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s for actually doing this, for creating this iceberg. And a huge shout out to you for staying here the entire time. If your brain is not mush, because I know mine is, and I split this over 2 days spread out by months, literal months, then I don't know what to tell you. You guys are champions. But thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown. Let me know all your thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Iceberg. Let me know if there's anything you would add to it. Let me know if there's anything you think I missed, or there were a few things I just didn't understand. So tell me about them down below. Let's go over it. Let's have a good conspiracy Yu-Gi-Oh! Filled conversation down below. I love these icebergs, man. Thank you all so much for watching. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, Jarrett Buller, and X-Slayer 64, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Anime Kaput, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, XZsLover 104. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and who is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out tremendously, and I would not be able to do this without all of you. I stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/SuperDeepRot. Link will be down below. If you've, again, made it to the end, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. I'll talk to you down below, and I hope you have an amazing day. Wow.